Virginia to be with you here in Richmond. And I want to thank you for the work that you do every single day to fight for our values, to fight for opportunity for every single Virginian. As I tell people, we cannot get the Commonwealth of Virginia's issues right unless we get women's issues right, because women's issues are all of our issues. I myself was raised by a very strong woman. I am married to a very strong woman, and now I'm raising a very strong woman. This is and I tell you, a lot of incredibly important issues have been talked about today. The centerpiece of our campaign, both this year and 4 years ago, is and remains economic security and opportunity for all Virginians, because it covers so many issues that impact every single one of our families, and women in particular. I'll tell you a story about my mother. Her name is Stephanie Fairfax. She just had a birthday yesterday. I won't tell you which one because I want to live to see my next birthday. But we did celebrate with her yesterday. And my mom is a pharmacist. She lives in Washington, D.C. She raised 4 children. I'm the youngest of 4. And actually the reason that my mom became a pharmacist was because at the age of about 5 or 6, she learned that her great uncle, who also was a pharmacist back in about the 1920s or 30s, had gone through pharmacy school, had been certified, but never was able to be hired as a pharmacist because of the color of his skin. And so my mom at the age of 5 or 6 was going through some family heirlooms in a trunk, and she told my grandparents, her parents, I'm going to be a pharmacist for him because he couldn't be one. And decades later, she did just that. And that is the woman who raised me. A woman with that kind of resolve, that kind of fortitude, that kind of care for other people. And we had a later event in our lives where we had to regroup and have a comeback, which also shows the power of women and also the power of making sure that opportunity is available to all women. They are treated equally and given the same opportunities as men. My mom, when I was about 5 or 6 years old, my parents actually got divorced. I was living in Pittsburgh, and my mom ended up moving us in with my late maternal grandparents in Northeast Washington, D.C., because we needed a safety net. We needed a place where we could regroup. And my grandparents were 2 amazing people. My grandfather was a postal worker for 45 years. My grandmother was a nurse at Howard University Hospital, Freedman's Hospital back then. They took us in, all 5 of us, and allowed us the opportunity to regroup. And because they did that, and because my mom got to be a pharmacist, because she worked so hard every day and was treated fairly, I was able to earn a strong paycheck. A couple years later, she was able to buy the home right across the street from my grandparents, and that was the house in which I was raised. And she eventually, with the help of my family, the village that raised us, and complete strangers in some cases, ended up sending all 4 of her children through college and 2 through law school. That's the American dream that we want to have possible for every single family in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And that dream is only possible if we make sure that people are given the same opportunities, that they are treated fairly. And my mother embodies that. My mother is like every woman here in this room. She just wanted an opportunity to be treated fairly. And when life came at her hard, she fought back even harder. And she allowed us to regroup. And so myself, my 2 older brothers, and my older sister have gotten to live incredibly fortunate and blessed lives. And I call all of that spiritual wealth. And I believe that public service is repaying that spiritual debt of all the people who gave my mom and my family and my grandparents those opportunities. That is why I got involved in public service to begin with. I'm a former federal prosecutor. So I prosecuted cases at the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Eastern District of Virginia. I was in the Major Crimes and Narcotics Unit, keeping our streets and our families safe. I also, very importantly, was the deputy of the Northern Virginia Human Trafficking Task Force. That is an issue I care so deeply about. And I will tell you something, before I got involved with that task force, I'll be honest, I didn't know as much about that issue as I should have. But every day after I learned about it, it has become a passion for me. Because that is something we have to do to protect our young people, people of all ages, all stripes. A human trafficking survivor looks like everybody in this room. And we have got to recognize the evil that is that issue and fight for that issue. I also have been very proud to stand as a champion, a fighter in the cause for making sure that women have control of their own reproductive health care decisions. I've been honored to serve as the vice chair of Planned Parenthood Metropolitan Washington Action Fund, the C4 board. I've been involved with that organization for the last several years. And we have got to not only fight back against what Donald Trump has done, he has ripped the fabric of this nation in so many ways, through misogyny and racism and xenophobia. But what I tell people is that we cannot define ourselves solely by our opposition to Donald Trump. We have got to repeal and replace his xenophobia with hope. We have got to repeal and replace his misogyny with more opportunity for women, protecting their rights. As we go back and we try to beat back the efforts to defund Planned Parenthood, we also have got to make sure that more young women, in addition to controlling their reproductive health care, get more opportunities to advance educationally and in their careers. We, over this holiday break, my wife, Dr. Stephanie Fairfax, who's a dentist, actually went to the VCU School of Dentistry right here in Richmond. I will brag on her for 30 seconds, and I know I only got about a minute left. I'll give her 30 seconds on that minute. Please let her know I did that. She last year had her 10-year reunion at the VCU School of Dentistry. We went to Duke University together. She went to VCU for dental school. I went to Columbia for law school. Last year at her 10-year reunion right here in Richmond, the school honored her as the most outstanding dental school alumna of the last decade. And 10 years ago, we purchased a family dental practice in Fairfax, Virginia. That business has thrived, and we have been able to do very well. She loves treating her patients. But the reason that we've owned that practice for 10 years is because my wife came home one day. She was working for another dentist, and she said, I don't like the way he treats his patients. She'd only worked for him for about 2 months. He does not treat them with care. He gets them in and out. She called it a puppy mill, and she hated that style of practice. She said, if I had my own practice, I would treat every single patient that came through these doors like family. And so we sat down that night, and I said, Serena, in taking 1 second, well then let's do it. That's your dream, let's do it. I was working at a law firm. I said, I'll stay in that law firm a few extra years. And I'll work those late ruling hours because this is your dream. And so we did that. We went out and bought a practice. I believed in her, she believed in her. And 10 years later, she is an incredibly successful dentist and small business owner. And that is the power of creating opportunity for every single one of us. And that has been our message. I would be honored to have your support, to earn your vote, to fight alongside you. For the last 4 years, every single day, I have been out there fighting to make sure we're expanding opportunity, that we are focused on these issues that matter so much to our families. I've traveled around the Commonwealth helping to elect some incredibly wonderful women candidates. Stephanie Morales in Portsmouth, Virginia is the first African-American woman ever to serve as Commonwealth's attorney. She won that race in a 3-way primary at the age of 31 years old. And I was honored to go down there and campaign for her. And I'm now honored to have her endorsement and support. I was honored to campaign for Stacey Kincaid, who you all know is the sheriff of Fairfax County, where I live. Stacey was the first woman elected to the sheriff of Fairfax County in 271 years. I was honored to support her, campaign for her. I'm honored to have her endorsement. And because it requires money and not just talk, the first check I wrote to Stacey was for $271 because I wanted to signify that she had done something incredible. And as long as we continue to expand these opportunities to make sure that women's issues are central to everything that we do, we are going to be a model for the rest of the country. And Donald Trump won't know what hit him when we come. So thank you guys so much.